And good afternoon. Welcome to NTV at 1. My name is Malcolm Sima. Let's have a look at the headlines this afternoon.
If you have feeds and you are a fish farmer,
Killing the golden goose. Experts warn government that the proposed new taxes on agricultural inputs will make Uganda non-competitive. Security agencies destroy suspected criminal hideouts in Lake Yoga. And also coming up, Masaka taxi drivers back the Chankwanzi resolution to give President Yoweri Museveni another term in office. Welcome to NTV at 1. Let's take off now. We begin with a story from the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister, Swaibu Mbowa, says that Cabinet is considering building offices for government institutions as concerns about areas accrued from rent surface. He was appearing before Parliament's Legal Committee.
Because there is already work in progress.
We have decided that we actually are going to build office accommodation for government. And in cabinet, we have set up a cabinet committee under the chairmanship of the Minister for the Presidency. And they have already sat and submitted to me a number of proposals on how this can be achieved. It will be a combination of public-private partnership and direct government funding where we can do that. But we have not concluded this, have not met the committee, we have not made a submission to cabinet. When we have concluded that, you'll be informed.
The new value-added tax on agricultural inputs will instead spur counterfeits, particularly seeds in the local market. Experts warn that the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, alongside the Economic Policy Research Center, they say that this move will ultimately affect Uganda's competitiveness. Speakers of the breakfast meeting here in Kampala have also warned counterfeit seeds remain the single largest factor behind crop failure on thousands of fields countrywide.
you organize because VAT is for the last consumer. If you have feeds and you are a fish farmer, then you are not the last consumer. The last consumer is the one who buys it to eat it. But do you have a way you use receipts?
Whatever tax you want to put in place, my take on this is that, first of all, we have to prepare the source of this tax. We want to tax our farmers. We need to provide for them.
But subject to the approval of Parliament, and when Parliament rejects it, then Uganda Revenue Authority is duty-bound to refund the taxes so collected.
We are fully on board with that. And so we very much feel that there is a strong risk that that dynamic, which we strongly believe is underway in this country, could be jeopardized.
Now, so many people, including farmers activists are asking government to reconsider its stand on VAT on agriculture inputs. They say it will kill the agriculture sector, which is struggling and which also happens to be the mainstay of our economy. To discuss this matter of the proposed taxes in the recent budget, Dr. Swaibu Mbowa, a senior research fellow of the Economic Policy Research at the Economic Policy Research Center. You're very welcome, Mr. Mbowa.
Thank you very much.
Good. So, for starters, very many people in the agriculture sector and those who advocate for the betterment of the agriculture sector in this country have been complaining about these tax proposals, which other people actually say that URA has started, putting in practice, including on inputs and all that. How is that likely to affect the sector in your view?
Oh yeah, thank you very much. apparently the morning dialogue we organized is part of the EPRC's theme of this year of resource mobilization, domestic resource mobilization and enhancing development. And we can see that this really, the Minister of Finance has been able to pronounce, the Minister of Finance has already, it's pronounced in the budget, the budget speech that there is a need indeed to mobilize resources domestically. This morning we were successful in putting together all stakeholders. We've been hearing a lot of information coming from all stakeholders, giving different opinions. So today the effort was to put them together and really ensure that the discussion is reached to forge a way forward. And apparently what has emerged from the discussion this morning is that wider consultations are required and we need to do enough research to make pronouncements on the issue of VAT. So that's what happened successfully this morning.
So if a proposal receives a yes, as it is right now, there will obviously be an impact. And what would that impact be to the farmers first of all, and maybe to the economy? What will happen? Yeah, I think what has happened in the this morning today is that there are dissenting views on this. The proposal to impose taxes on VAT, we think that there is a need for a holistic study. We need to look at how it will impact the entire value chain. That's what we've proposed. We've given examples of maize is affected differently. The margins are low at the farmer level and high at the marketing level, wholesale level. Then whereas the margins for the coffee value chain the margins are high at the production level. So we think a blanket imposing of VAT on agricultural inputs could have different impacts. So we need to sincerely understand what the impact will be in a holistic manner. In a holistic manner.
Yeah.
So what does this mean to farmers, especially those operating on small scale?
Operating on small scale, I think what could happen is that definitely the cost of production will go high, the cost structure will go high, but apparently that means that they will come up with, they will be affected in one way or another. What we don't want to see is government has made a lot of effort in promoting use of inputs, and we think that by way of promoting this input use, that should be enhanced through government programs. Through government programs,
yeah. And probably putting better prices that farmers will definitely manage to pay. Precisely. There's also fear that, which is already happening, that there are fake outputs, agricultural inputs rather, fertilizers and all that on the market. And how is this new tax likely to increase or take the problem up in the roof?
Well, I think the issue of fake fertilizers is about regulation. I think that is another side of the story. We're talking about fake fertilizers and so on and inputs. That's regulation. But what we need to focus on will be the impact on the production structure, how that will be affected. And then in any case, if government needs to collect the taxes, but we are proposing that we look at the holistic system. The taxes should be imposed with clear focus of the holistic system of the value chain that is being emphasized by the agriculture sector and the development of agriculture in this country.
Okay, just finally, what about the effect on Uganda's competitiveness, across the region or on the international arena?
Yeah, I think in perspective of that, we are living in a regional bloc, East African community, and we are having different policies within the region. There are countries in the neighboring countries that are that are providing support through subsidies, and then other countries have come up with the different policies on VAT. So we need to harmonize that. That needs to be harmonized. So that's where we are saying that as EPRC we need to do more studies. We need to do more research to inform government on what it should be done. From a position that there is evidence that will show how the VAT will affect agriculture.
Dr. Mbowa, you think government does not have technocrats to really know that when you impose taxes on, for example, fertilizers and agricultural inputs, this will be the drawback? What exactly, where are the gaps? What is lacking?
Well, I think we need to back up the evidence. We need to support government in by doing research to support its decisions and policies. So that's what we, as EPRC, that's what.
Do you have the capacity right now
we
to
have the
bring
capacity
out better
to,
results?
Yeah. And in any case, as I told you, that this is part of the major theme of EPRC. The major theme of this year is resource mobilization, domestic resource mobilization to enhance sustainable development, supporting sustainable development in the country.
Right.
We know that donor funding is drying up, so there is need to focus on that. And we intend to do more research on that.
Thank you very much. Dr. Swaibu Mbowa is a research fellow of the Economic Policy Research Center, and trying to tell us what they are doing to help government to try and understand the policies, and that the new proposals should not affect farmers, deeply at the end of the day. Let's move on. Security operatives comprising the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the police and the Regional Fisheries Enforcement Team from Kaye landing site in Apache district have destroyed several hideouts on tens of islands. That's on Lake Choga, Sambaya, Bateso, Afande Camp, USA, among others, all owned by civilians and veterans who are among those used as hubs for criminals.
According to Amlan Tumusime, the head of the Regional Fisheries Enforcement, people have been living on the islands for a decade, although they had been warned to leave several times.
Is this really? Not only that, you imagine this one.
They have been warned several times by politicians, by other local leaders, but they could not take the advice seriously. So until the Chief of Defense Forces, General Katumba Wamala, intervened and said, no, these people cannot stay there. One, they're a source of insecurity. Two, they are depleting the lake.
Most of these people are criminals, and they're habitual criminals. And when they hide in such places, you can, first of all, it's difficult for police to get them. Secondly, to even account for them.
John Robert Omuto, who is the Deputy Resident Commissioner for Apache District, confirmed to NTV that there has been fear that people living on the islands are wanted criminals who escaped from prison.
People who have committed some crimes somewhere, like we also got an intelligence that these SADs are occupying people, even some people who ran away from some prisons, who have committed high crimes like murder, defilement.
This is where they hide. These are their caves. They hide here and sleep.
Under there's water, so you can see it's just floating.
There is no toilet.
Omutu said that the heavy deployment forced about 1,500 people. The agents from the Joint Security Operation have meanwhile camped on different landing sites and shall be patrolling regularly.
There is no way we can live here.
Taxi drivers in Masaka have endorsed the resolution made by the NRM caucus in February to front President Yoweri Museveni as the sole candidate for the presidency in 2016. The drivers converged at Masaka Recreation Grounds and unanimously agreed to rally behind the president, saying they were grateful that he had granted them the mandate to manage the taxi parks in their areas of operation.
There was jubilation in Masaka town yesterday. Taxi drivers in support of the NRM marched along the streets of Masaka town, chanting party slogans and dancing to the beat of the Kadodi drums. These men, clad in yellow t-shirts, were showing their support for the NRM Chankwanzi resolution. After the march, they all gathered at Masaka Recreation Grounds, where the Rengo District NRM Chairman Muyanja Mbabali addressed them.
Museveni bwawulira nkitufu obumbula n'aziika n'addayo kwe kulagira nti abagagga batwala eryanyi lingi mu baavu nga baagala ssente, muleke abaana abo beekolere omulimu gwabwe. Nolwekyo mumwebaze nnyo.
The assembly, however, ended in drama. There was a scuffle between these drivers, fighting to get a share of the NRM t-shirts that were sent to them from State House.
The future of students doing medicine, nursing and pharmacy hangs in balance as they continue to struggle to find internship placement. While opportunities for placement are available, the essentials for their practice are lacking. We have a report.
When an intern is taken on, they have to be trained in practicals to enhance their skill before they can be licensed by the professional bodies. 1 million shillings is needed for each intern per month.
The hospital meets the cost of feeding them and so pays every intern some amount of money to take care of their feeding. We also look after their welfare, apart from just giving them space for accommodation.
As a result, hospitals are taking fewer and fewer interns. So far, over 120 former medical students of Mbarara University of Science and Technology have missed this year's internship uptake.
The implications of this are that these young people are going to get extremely demoralized because they are committed to completing their internship on time and then look for employment opportunities, because medical training is a long training. For example, it is 5 years for doctors.
This kind of trend will discourage young people from studying medicine. After all, they spend more years studying only to finish and get nowhere. As a result, a country already short of medical workers will have an even bigger shortage.
We're now going to take a short break. We'll come back with more stories making headlines this afternoon here on NTV at 1.
Use White Star Laundry Bar Soap with a lemon fragrance and you'll have a fresh, clean day. Be like a star. Use White Star.
Don't disturb Daddy. My daddy is a star.
White Star Laundry Bar Soap. All day fresh clean.
Stand by and split. Action.
Rehab, what's up? Feel it within.
Ariel claims to give us the best stain removal in one wash. So we'll collect tough stains, red sand, fruit juice, chocolate ice cream, to see which gives the best stain removal in one wash. We'll wash one half with Ariel and the other with premium detergent. Did the other premium detergent remove these stains? And Ariel? Ariel, best stain removal in one wash.
On the last episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
The Return.
Besides, I'm the law in this town, and I get the orders around here.
Because I promised my father before you had him murdered. Now I swear it to you. Antonia, you're going to beg me. What about you? Did you trust me?
I went into my office, and where I keep the explosives had been forced open. Only one woman was seen there. It was Gabriela Suarez.
No, that is not true.
The investments this lady wants to make is worth millions. Everything she does is very big.
Annabelle, we've got a problem.
Buddy, you better watch your back. That's everybody.
It's time to add more fuel to the fire.
The Return.
La Patrona. You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Welcome back. This is NTV at 1. Now, on matters farming, did you know that you could also make the ceiling of your house serve another purpose? Probably as a chicken brooder. The pastor in Makindi, Kampala, is doing just that, is rearing broiler chicken, over 200 birds in his ceiling. Peterson Sozi says he adopted this system from India and Brazil, and that this species closely linked to local chicken, kept under the free-range system in Uganda. Now, each of these birds, of the 200 birds, lays 200 eggs annually. So Dio Biarhanga tells the story.
Atop Makindi Hill in Kampala is the home of Pastor Peterson Sozi, an innovative farmer. His house is like any other, but the roof has more than one use. Sozi took us to his brood above the ceiling, and this is what welcomed us. Pastor Sozi told us that while he was staying in the UK, he was always begging for dime note, until one day he was challenged by a Jewish lawyer who asked him why he was begging, yet he comes from a country that has unexploited natural resources. And that alone has always challenged him to use all his knowledge and ensure he earns a living. He converted what is known as his own ceiling into a chicken brooder in order for him to rear more, because every day the space he had outside was diminishing as the chicken increased.
Now that word dime really struck deep into my heart, because really it is change. You go, you spend 3 months, and what you get out after begging is really nothing.
Sozi fixed more wood on the main supporting pillars of the ceiling to create a wooden floor a few inches above the ceiling. The roof can carry as much as 1,000 chicken. The chicken do everything here, from eating to sleeping. The ventilator allows free air circulation, keeping the brooder free of foul smell.
Because the temperature up there can go maybe 25 to 30 degrees, and they were resistant. So that is good for some parts of Uganda. Broiler chicken can go to some hot areas of Uganda.
As a young man, Sozi felt that working in the garden was a punishment by his parents. He started out with 4,000 chicken, but the entire brood was cleared by Newcastle disease.
I got a shock in me, and for 16 years, I didn't want to do anything with the chicken.
But later, his brother introduced him to rearing broiler chicken. After overcoming the trauma of the death of his chicken, Pastor Sozi resumed with 300 chicken in 2010.
It is 3-in-1, and it is resistant to diseases, and it is a scavenger. It can eat anything. It can tear through any leaf, any fruit, any maybe cassava or potatoes. And
a broiler bird takes 4 months to mature and typically weighs 2 to 3 kilograms. In the layers, can lay 200 to 250 eggs annually.
Right. And I was able to sell 1-month-old chicken to Accra, Ghana. I don't know what Uganda has ever sold to Accra, Ghana.
The chicken feed includes droppings from the quail birds, mixed with banana peels, silverfish, and maize. Sozi says broiler birds, which look like local chicken, can also live under the free-range system.
You lose money when you have layers and they're not laying. But then you really wait, and then when the food is at a good price, you swing back into action.
One of the major challenges Sozi faces is adulterated chicken feed, which is sometimes mixed with sand.
You buy 5 kilos, but the true protein you're buying is like 3 kilos.
Sozi has a ready plan to overcome the high cost of chicken feed.
White bean is called semuye or mukokota in Uganda, and it has very, very high proteins in it, just like soya bean. So I've been telling people to grow it, and once that one is grown, we will put our chicken feed price down.
The fertilized eggs are sold at 500 shillings each. The man of God collects at least 1,500 eggs weekly and hatches 6,000 chicks per month.
1 day old is 3,000, 1 month old is 7,000, and normal chicken ranges between 35,000 to 50,000.
Sozi's home is often busy, with people from across the country streaming here for consultation. He charges them 5,000 shillings each. Pastor Sozi's dream is to encourage more people to keep the birds until a kilo of chicken meat goes for 4,000 shillings, down from the current 15,000 shillings.
Broiler chicken, and we have cocks, then we can butcher them, have thighs, and sell them in kilos. So the potential is still big, and it's a challenge to me.
Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
And that is, thank you very much, Sudil, for that interesting story. Now, Tiger Woods has ruled himself out of contention for next month's Ryder Cup because of injury. And in football, according to the Premier League Chief Executive Officer Richard Scandamore, Luis Suarez is an accident waiting to happen, and Liverpool were right to sell the striker. We have a report.
Woods, who failed to qualify automatically for the Glen Eagles event, has been suffering from a persistent back problem. He had surgery in March and has been told not to play by doctors. While number 11 Woods, who has played in 7 Ryder Cups but only been on the winning side once, was sidelined for 3 months following his surgery but reported no pain when he returned to action in June. Meanwhile, Luis Suarez is serving a 4-month ban for biting Italy's Giorgio Chiellini at the World Cup. The 27-year-old, who will discover the outcome of his appeal against that ban today, left Anfield to join Barcelona for £75 million in the summer. Premier League Chief Executive Richard Scudamore said although he was great to have in the league, he is an accident waiting to happen.
That's it in sports, and we're going to get many more stories, latest stories on what's happening in the world of sports coming up on Mumuli. David Romansi, Dakar Chigongo, and Aaron Darin are already set to give you what it takes. And that's it on NTV at 1. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Get the news updates that you want around the clock.